Hi, welcome to Consular Conversations with U.S. Embassy Kingston, where we answer your questions live. Today, I'm with Consular Officer Richard Imamura and our American Citizen Services Chief, Ellen Colleran. Today, we're going to be talking about overseas voting, holiday travel, and other ACF issues. Remember, you can send your questions in live, but we cannot answer questions about specific cases. If you have a question about your case, you can visit our website. First, before we get to your questions, I'm going to turn it over to our American Citizen Services Chief, Ellen Colleran, to answer some questions, to talk about our American Citizen Services.
Thanks, Morgan. I really appreciate it. And hi, everybody. I'm so happy to have the chance to talk to you all today. I just got here to Kingston, and there's just a few things we wanted to mention at the top as we're planning the rest of the year so we can help you as you plan forward until the end of the year. So there are a couple things I'm sure are on folks' mind, from voting to holiday travel, also our new STEP program, and our citizen liaison volunteers. So I'll just take a few quick minutes and talk through those, and then we're happy to take any questions. So I can imagine it's on folks' minds. We have a big election coming up in November for voting. Folks who are American citizens who are here in Jamaica or the Caymans are welcome to vote in U.S. elections. To find information on how they can participate and get their ballots remotely, they can log on to the Federal Voting Assistance Program website, which is just www.fvap.gov. There you can find all of the information on downloading your ballot and how you can return it. As we're getting close to the election, it's something to consider that folks might want to return their ballots via DHL or FedEx, as typically we ask folks to give us at least 4 weeks if they want to return it through the embassy. If we're not a polling location, we can just send folks' ballots back to the U.S. So just something to watch as we're getting closer to November. Also, thinking to November and looking forward, we're looking towards the holiday season already, which is hard to imagine. So we just want to encourage folks to take a look at their passports and make sure that they aren't expired or expiring soon. We have same day or next day passport appointments available for folks to come on in. So there's plenty of time now to renew your passport ahead of holiday travel. But as we get closer, those times can extend. So we want to make sure that nobody misses their travel and they do reach out to us and they can schedule via our website. Another way to get information about travel is through our STEP program, which is our Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. Folks might be aware that over the last month, we've been transitioning from our former system to our new platform. So as of today, we're using only our new platform. So if folks haven't had a chance, please do sign up at step.state.gov. There you can register for all information here, for weather updates, to emergency updates here in Jamaica and also the Cayman Islands. That will keep you up to date with the latest information. So we encourage everybody to go ahead and do that if you haven't already. One last thing before I turn it back to you, we also are looking for some more citizen liaison volunteers. That's another way that we get in touch with folks in our American communities from Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. We work with private sector Americans to help reach out to our communities, to share administrative information, to also help connect to folks with resources during emergencies as well. If folks are interested in volunteering or learning more about that, they can reach out to us at KingstonACAS@state.gov. Well, I'll turn it back to you. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you so much. For people American citizens in Jamaica or the Cayman who want to vote, can they vote at the embassy?
Great question. You actually can't vote here at the embassy, but you can register at the website that we talked about, the www.fvap.gov, to get your federal absentee ballot. So through there, you can learn all the regulations for your particular state on how you fill that out. Every state is different. Some you can return it electronically or via fax, and some it's via mail. And again, we're happy to mail from here, but we're a little bit tight on our upcoming elections in November, so you may want to consider using DHL or FedEx as well.
Great. And what about green card holders or long-time permanent residents in the U.S.? Can they vote in this upcoming election?
They cannot. You have to be a U.S. citizen in order to vote, but thanks for the question.
Okay, great. Turning to some NIV questions. For people that want to travel to the States around the holidays but don't have a visa, how much time do they need to get the visa, come to their interview? Can they do it in time to travel over the holidays?
So if we're talking about the Christmas holidays, absolutely. Currently, all our wait times for all our visa categories are online at travel.state.gov. And our wait times for tourist visas, B1, B2, currently at 21 calendar days.
Okay, great. You spoke a little bit about our citizen liaison volunteers. Can you give a bit more detail about what services they provide and what they do in the community?
Sure, great. Thanks so much for the opportunity to talk about this a little bit more. We really count on them. These are some of our American citizens who are here in Jamaica, also in the Caymans, who are private citizens who are really connected with expat and local communities. We work together really closely to help get information out to our communities and to learn how we can serve you better. So it's anything from sharing information, if we have scheduling updates here, availability like we're talking about today, letting folks know all the resources available. Of course, we always hope we're not in the circumstance, but if you're in an emergency or if you're facing a storm, just to make sure that we can check on everybody, see how you're doing, and that you have access to this information. So we'd love to have some more folks. Again, we'd love to hear from you at kingstonACS@state.gov if you're interested. No experience necessary. We're happy to talk to you through that.
Great. Along those lines, there was a hurricane here in Jamaica back in July and one recently in the States. For American citizens who are here in Jamaica or in the Caymans, what should they do in a situation like that with a large natural disaster? How can they stay in contact with the embassy and support?
Thanks. Great questions today. Wow, happy to hear some of the ACS questions. So the primary thing I would say is what we talked a little bit about at the top. It's called STEPS. So it's our Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. That's where you get the latest information from us, from weather alerts, if we have upcoming storms, to any sort of emergency preparedness. We'll get those through your email. So if you just go to step.state.gov, it'll walk you through the whole process. What's unique about our new platform as opposed to our previous platform is you can sign up for multiple countries and you can also sign up for specific periods of time. So we may want to sign up for time for Jamaica or Caymans for a while, but maybe you're going on vacation somewhere else and you'd like to know what's happening in that area. You'll find the information from us there first, and of course, always follow our socials here at the U.S. Embassy.
Great, thank you so much. Let's see. Sandy from YouTube wants to know, what is the minimum age to vote?
It's 18.
18. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Also, in regards to holiday travel, Richard, I'll throw this question to you. If someone's in the U.S. traveling on a visitor visa, B1, B2 visa, and something happens, a snowstorm, another issue where they can't get back to Jamaica, and they might risk overstaying on their visa, what should someone do in that situation?
Well, we're not going to keep you from leaving. You can leave the United States, and then there essentially our preference is that you allot enough time that you can leave in case of emergencies or unplanned hiccups before you leave. But if you do have a genuine emergency, you can always explain that to the consular officer when you reply.
Great, thank you. Ellen, back to some voting questions. Marcia from X, formerly known as Twitter, wants to know, how can I trust the embassy when I send in my vote for the election? How can I know that they get it to the embassy?
Sure, good question, Marcia, and thanks for reaching out. We are getting close to some big elections. So typically we ask folks to submit their ballots to us, which you can drop off here at the embassy in Kingston, also at our transfer agencies in Montego Bay, and in the Caymans as well. 4 weeks is a safe time period. The ballot that you drop off is sealed. You can follow the instructions again at FAP.gov. That goes into our box, into our mail system. We do not touch it. We fully respect this process. But we did mention at the top, and we do want to underscore that we are a little tight on our turnaround for getting those back to the US. So we do encourage folks to check and see what the requirements are for their states. Perhaps you could submit electronically, perhaps by fax, as we mentioned earlier. And you may also want to consider doing that DHL or FedEx route. But we take this very seriously, and thanks so much in advance for your participation.
Thank you. Richard, back to you. Davian from X wants to know, how can he apply for a job in the U.S.? And additionally, what are the visa processes like for working in the U.S.?
All right, great question. So there are different types of petition-based visas for work. There's the H program for agricultural workers, for example. And in those cases, the petitioner themselves will either get named or unnamed petitions to allow workers to come to the United States. So I highly recommend that you go to www.travel.state.gov and look at the different visas that you might qualify for.
Great, that's awesome. And sorry, last question. Someone just sent in, what is the deadline to send in your absentee ballot? I know you kind of touched on it, but is there a hard deadline, like a day?
So that's a good question.
not precisely though, before the 5th, as we know, that's our election day, our major election day coming up November 5th. But that's where we really want to encourage you to take a look at that website, because each information for each state that you may be voting for, whichever state you vote absentee for, will have that information there. And it really depends upon how you can turn it back in. So I would encourage you to take a look at that site. Again, to go through our process, we usually ask folks to give us about 4 weeks to be on the safe side. I think we're closer to 3 now. So we do want to consider express mail options, or also making sure that you've checked with your state.
Okay, we got one last question in from Abby on X for Richard. What is the process to apply for a visa for a newborn? Is the process any different? Is there a time frame for that as well?
So for a newborn, they would qualify for an interview waiver. Anybody under the age of 14 who hasn't had a prior refusal can go through the tourist visa interview waiver process. You would send in the passport, and it would be based upon the parents' qualifications for that newborn.
Okay, is that the same for any minor or just a newborn?
I can't say for every minor, but generally minors under the age of 14 are eligible for an interview waiver as long as they haven't had a prior refusal.
Okay, and do they need to travel with a parent or guardian, or can they go by themselves?
That would be more up to the airlines, whatever the airlines restrictions have. The U.S. Embassy doesn't have a requirement where a minor has to travel with another visaed individual, for example.
Okay, great. Well, as we wrap up this Consular Conversations, I'm going to turn it back to Ellen. Do you have any last comments on any ACS services you'd like to mention?
Thanks, Maureen. Just thanks so much to everybody for participating with us today. We're happy to have all your questions. If you have any other questions, if there's anything you can do, please reach out to us at kingstonacs@state.gov, and we'd be happy to get back to you. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in and sending in your questions. We really hope it was helpful, and have a good day. Bye.